Did you know that Peter O'Toole, Richard Burton, and Albert Finney were each nominated for an Oscar more than 5 times but never won? They aren't the only ones. Many great actors from the golden age of Hollywood never won an Oscar, even though they're still regarded as some of the best actors in history. Let's look at the full list of actors who were outstanding at their craft but, unfortunately, never took home an Oscar. Many of them did receive an honorary Oscar, yet never won a competitive one. Rudolph Valentino. Rudolph Valentino was one of the most iconic figures of the silent film era. Nicknamed the Latin Lover, Valentino appeared in around 15 feature films and quickly became a cultural phenomenon with his smoldering looks and magnetic screen presence. Among his most notable performances were The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and The Sheik, roles that cemented his status as a romantic leading man of his time. Despite his tremendous popularity and influence, Valentino did not receive any major awards during his short career, primarily because most of today's major award ceremonies, including the Academy Awards, had not been established while he was alive. The first Oscar ceremony took place in 1929, 3 years after Valentino's death. Because of this timing, Valentino was never even nominated for an Academy Award. It's likely he would have garnered significant Oscar attention had the awards existed a few years earlier. Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole, an Irish-born actor from August 1932, became internationally known for his role in Lawrence of Arabia in 1962. Renowned for his piercing blue eyes and captivating performances, he amassed a total of 8 Oscar nominations over the course of around 60 films. Though he never won a competitive Academy Award, O'Toole received an honorary Oscar in 2003. He died in December 2013, having shaped an era of epic storytelling and grand cinematic style. Richard Burton. Richard Burton was born in November 1925 and amassed 7 Oscar nominations throughout his career, making him one of the most recognized British actors of his time. He starred in over 40 films, including Cleopatra in 1963 and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in 1966. Regarded for his commanding stage presence, Burton also garnered multiple Golden Globe and BAFTA wins. His work in both theater and film showcased a profound vocal quality and intense emotional range. He died in August 1984. Albert Finney. Albert Finney, who arrived in May 1936, earned 5 Academy Award nominations and numerous accolades during a career spanning roughly 50 films. His compelling performances in Tom Jones in 1963 and Murder on the Orient Express in 1974 demonstrated his versatility. Finney also secured 3 Golden Globe wins and BAFTA honors, evidencing critical acclaim on both sides of the Atlantic. He passed away in February 2019. Bob Hope. Bob Hope, born in May 1903, was a prolific entertainer whose career lasted more than 7 decades. Though never nominated for a competitive Academy Award, he received 5 honorary Oscars in recognition of his contributions to the film industry. His work encompassed radio, television, and stage, earning him multiple Emmys. Known for his sharp wit and countless USO performances, he left an indelible mark on entertainment. He died in July 2003. Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, born in May 1930, is celebrated for playing tough, no-nonsense characters in films such as the Dollars Trilogy in the 1960s and the Dirty Harry series in the 1970s. Shifting from acting to directing, he achieved significant recognition for projects like Unforgiven in 1992 and $1 Million Baby in 2004, each earning him Academy Awards. With around 70 films to his credit, he also received an AFI Life Achievement Award. Eastwood remains active in Hollywood. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney appeared in nearly 300 productions, transitioning seamlessly from child star to respected character actor. He received 4 Oscar nominations for roles that highlighted his comedic timing and dramatic range, and he was further recognized with 2 honorary Oscars. In addition to that, he earned a Golden Globe for his work on screen. Over the course of his multi-decade career, he performed in films such as Boys Town in 1938 and National Velvet in 1944. He remained a prominent figure in Hollywood from the 1930s until his passing in 2014. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift starred in around 20 films, becoming known for an intense and realistic approach often associated with method acting. He garnered 4 Oscar nominations, including those for The Search in 1948 and A Place in the Sun in 1951. His roles frequently explored complex emotional terrain, setting him apart from many contemporaries. Clift's filmography also encompassed From Here to Eternity in 1953 and Judgment at Nuremberg in 1961. He remained active in cinema until his death in 1966. Claude Reigns. Claude Reigns took part in approximately 60 films, gaining recognition for his refined voice and commanding presence in titles such as Mr. Smith Goes to Washington in 1939, Casablanca in 1942, and Notorious in 1946. He earned 4 Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actor, reflecting the impact of his performances in both historical epics and classic dramas. Renowned for nuanced portrayals that balance charm with underlying tension, Reigns contributed to Hollywood's golden era until his passing in 1967. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas appeared in more than 90 productions and secured 3 Oscar nominations. His roles in films like Champion in 1949, Lust for Life in 1956, and Spartacus in 1960 displayed his dynamic screen presence. He also received a Lifetime Achievement Oscar in recognition of a career that stretched well over half a century. Douglas was notable for portraying determined characters, often in challenging moral situations, and continued working into his later years. He died in 2020 at the age of 103. Marcello Mastroianni. Marcello Mastroianni appeared in around 100 films, emerging as one of Italy's most internationally recognized actors. He earned 3 Oscar nominations, including one for his performance in Divorce Italian Style in 1961. In addition to Academy recognition, he also received a BAFTA award, a Cannes Best Actor nod, and multiple honors from European film festivals. Born in September 1924, he worked with celebrated directors such as Federico Fellini, most famously in La Dolce Vita in 1960 and 8 1/2 in 1963. His versatility allowed him to excel in both comedic and dramatic roles, making him a leading figure in post-war Italian cinema. He died in December 1996. William Powell. William Powell took part in around 80 film projects, becoming well known for his urbane style and polished performances. Born in July 1892, he gained considerable fame through the Thin Man series, starting in 1934, where he portrayed the witty detective Nick Charles. He received 3 Oscar nominations, reflecting his consistent ability to command attention in both comedic and dramatic roles. Other notable appearances included My Man Godfrey in 1936 and Life with Father in 1947. Powell remained a highly sought-after star until his retirement, and he passed away in March 1984. Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers was involved in about 60 films, recognized for his chameleon-like ability to inhabit multiple characters. Born in September 1925, he received 3 Oscar nominations, including one for Dr. Strangelove in 1964. He also garnered significant acclaim at the BAFTAs, reflecting a talent that ranged from slapstick comedy to incisive satire. Sellers gained widespread popularity for his role as Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther series. He had a particular flair for vocal modulation and physical comedy, which made him a standout in British and American cinema. He died in July 1980. John Cassavetes. John Cassavetes participated in around 30 films as an actor and was noted for his pioneering influence on independent film as a director and writer. Born in December 1929, he garnered 3 Oscar nominations in behind-the-camera categories, particularly for works that embraced improvisation and raw emotional expression. As a performer, he appeared in The Dirty Dozen in 1967 and Rosemary's Baby in 1968. His approach to filmmaking often emphasized character-driven narratives over large-scale production elements. Cassavetes continued to explore creative boundaries until his death in February 1989. James Mason. James Mason took on about 100 screen roles, earning 3 Oscar nominations for performances in films such as A Star is Born in 1954, Georgie Girl in 1966, and The Verdict in 1982. Born in May 1909, he was known for a distinctive vocal style that lent itself to both villainous and sympathetic characters. Mason collaborated with prominent directors in Hollywood and British cinema, appearing in a wide range of genres from historical dramas to thrillers. He died in July 1984. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin created over 80 silent-era films and several later talkies, becoming known worldwide for the tramp character. Born in April 1889, he exhibited remarkable versatility by writing, directing, producing, and starring in classics such as The Kid in 1921, The Gold Rush in 1925, and City Lights in 1931. He received 3 honorary Oscars and won 1 competitive Oscar for Best Original Score in 1973. Chaplin's innovative comedic style relied heavily on physical gags, expressive pantomime, and social commentary. He passed away in December 1977. James Dean. James Dean appeared in just 3 major films: East of Eden in 1955, Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, and Giant in 1956, yet became one of Hollywood's enduring figures. Born in February 1931, he earned 2 posthumous Oscar nominations for East of Eden and Giant, an unprecedented achievement in Academy history. Dean's intense portrayals connected with a generation looking for authenticity and emotional depth on screen. His life ended abruptly in September 1955, bringing a sudden close to a promising career. Richard Attenborough. Richard Attenborough acted in numerous films, though he was never nominated for an Oscar in that capacity. Born in August 1923, he ventured into directing and producing, earning 2 Oscars for Gandhi in 1982, Best Director and Best Picture. As an actor, he appeared in titles like The Great Escape in 1963 and Jurassic Park in 1993, showcasing a range that spanned decades. He received knighthood and various other accolades during his career. Attenborough passed away in August 2014. Burgess Meredith. Burgess Meredith took on a vast array of roles over a career that spanned nearly 70 years. Born in November 1907, he earned 2 Oscar nominations and collected multiple Emmy Awards, reflecting his versatility in both film and television. He appeared in classics such as Of Mice and Men in 1939 and Rocky in 1976, showcasing his skill at bringing diverse characters to life. Meredith continued acting until his passing in September 1997. Carrie Grant. Carrie Grant was the embodiment of Hollywood sophistication, known for an easygoing charm and sharp comedic sense. Over 4 decades, beginning in the early 1930s, he starred in celebrated films like Bringing Up Baby in 1938, His Girl Friday in 1940, and North by Northwest in 1959. Despite 2 Oscar nominations, he never won a competitive Academy Award, although he did receive an honorary Oscar in 1970. Born in January 1904, he concluded his screen appearances in the mid-1960s. John Hurt. John Hurt, born in January 1940, delivered standout work across film, television, and theater. With 2 Oscar nominations and 4 BAFTA wins, he is remembered for roles in Alien in 1979 and The Elephant Man in 1980, among others. His distinctive voice was also utilized in various narrations and voice acting projects. Hurt took on numerous genres throughout his prolific career, appearing in both blockbusters and independent features, before his death in January 2017. Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder came into the spotlight in the 1960s and secured 2 Oscar nominations along the way. He is best known for comedic triumphs like The Producers in 1967, Blazing Saddles in 1974, and Young Frankenstein in 1974. Born in June 1933, Wilder also delivered a memorable turn as Willy Wonka in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 1971. His work extended to writing and directing, and he earned an Emmy win during his time in entertainment. Richard Harris. Richard Harris, born in October 1930, gained 2 Oscar nominations for This Sporting Life in 1963 and The Field in 1990. Known for his powerful screen presence and commanding performances, he appeared in diverse titles such as Camelot in 1967 and later took on the role of Albus Dumbledore in the first 2 Harry Potter films. His filmography spanned multiple genres, from historical epics to modern dramas, until his death in October 2002. Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider starred in around 40 films, receiving 2 Oscar nominations for The French Connection in 1971 and All That Jazz in 1979. Born in November 1932, he also became widely recognized for his performance as Chief Brody in Jaws in 1975. Scheider's ability to bring depth to both action-oriented and dramatic roles made him a consistent presence in 1970s and 1980s cinema. He died in February 2008. Max von Sydow. Max von Sydow appeared in roughly 150 films, earning 2 Oscar nominations for Pelle the Conqueror in 1987 and Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close in 2011. Born in April 1929, he worked extensively with Swedish director Ingmar Bergman, featuring in classics like The Seventh Seal in 1957. His career expanded to international productions, showcasing a remarkable range from art house to mainstream features. He passed away in March 2020. J Cobb. J Cobb took on a variety of supporting and leading parts in about 70 films. Born in December 1911, he is most remembered for roles in On the Waterfront in 1954 and The Brothers Karamazov in 1958, each earning him an Oscar nomination. Frequently cast in intense, authoritative characters, Cobb was equally adept on stage, famously portraying Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman. He died in February 1976. Ian McKellen. One of the most versatile actors of our time, Sir Ian McKellen has appeared on both stage and screen for over 6 decades. Perhaps best known for portraying Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Magneto in the X-Men series, he has also been a vocal activist for LGBTQ+ rights. Alongside numerous theater triumphs, McKellen received 2 Oscar nominations, one for Gods and Monsters and another for The Lord of the Rings. He holds multiple Olivier and Tony Awards, further reflecting his significant impact on the entertainment world. Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern's career spans film and television, featuring around 100 roles. He earned 2 Oscar nominations, one for Coming Home in 1978 and another for Nebraska in 2013. Often cast in edgy or morally complex characters, Dern brought intensity to early projects such as The Cowboys and Silent Running in the 1970s. Born in June 1936, he continued to work steadily into later years, showcasing a dedication to his craft that has made him a familiar presence across various genres. James Whitmore. James Whitmore amassed about 50 screen credits and earned 2 Oscar nominations, one for Battleground in 1949 and another for Give 'Em Hell, Harry in 1975. Known for his down-to-earth style and versatility, he also made notable appearances on stage and television. His filmography included roles in diverse works like The Shawshank Redemption, demonstrating his ease in both dramatic and character-focused parts. Whitmore was active in Hollywood for several decades until his death in February 2009. Basil Rathbone. Basil Rathbone appeared in around 70 films, best known for portraying Sherlock Holmes in a series of popular adaptations. He received 2 Oscar nominations in the 1930s for performances that highlighted his polished diction and commanding screen presence. Born in June 1892, Rathbone initially served in World War I before pursuing acting, which brought him to London's West End and eventually Hollywood. He continued to work on stage and in radio dramas, remaining a recognizable figure until his death in July 1967. Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland's career covered more than 6 decades, featuring an extensive range of characters. He gained attention for roles in films like MASH in 1970 and Ordinary People in 1980, winning 2 Golden Globes along the way. Later performances included the role of President Snow in the Hunger Games series. He received an honorary Oscar in 2017 for his contributions to cinema. Born in July 1935, he is also the father of actor Kiefer Sutherland and continued performing into his 80s. Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty directed, produced, wrote, and starred in around 30 films, showcasing a broad set of talents. He scored multiple Oscar nominations and won an Oscar for directing Reds in 1981. Memorable performances can be found in Bonnie and Clyde in 1967 and Heaven Can Wait in 1978, where he often portrayed charming but complex figures. Born in March 1937, Beatty balanced creative control behind the camera with leading man appeal on screen, securing recognition as one of Hollywood's prominent filmmakers and actors. Robert Redford. Robert Redford built a career across 6 decades, appearing in about 60 films and directing several more. Key on-screen roles include Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, The Sting in 1973, and All the President's Men in 1976. He later won an Oscar for directing Ordinary People in 1980 and received an honorary Oscar recognizing his overall contributions. Redford founded the Sundance Film Festival, promoting independent cinema and supporting emerging talent. Born in August 1936, he also committed to environmental initiatives. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum took part in roughly 100 films and received an Oscar nomination for The Story of G.I. Joe in 1945. Known for a laid-back yet intense style, he made lasting impressions in film noir classics such as Out of the Past in 1947 and Night of the Hunter in 1955. Mitchum displayed range across westerns, dramas, and thrillers during a career that began in the early 1940s. Born in August 1917, he continued acting until close to his death in July 1997. Steve McQueen. Timeless actor Steve McQueen, often dubbed the King of Cool, appeared in around 30 films. His style shone in The Magnificent Seven in 1960, The Great Escape in 1963, and Bullet in 1968, each showcasing his rugged charisma and love for high-speed action. One Oscar nomination came his way for The Sand Pebbles, released in 1966. Beyond the screen, he indulged his passion for fast cars and motorcycles, adding to a rebellious off-screen persona that matched his on-screen characters. He continued working until his passing in 1980, leaving a body of work that still captivates film enthusiasts worldwide. James Caan. James Caan took on roughly 80 roles, delivering memorable portrayals in both dramas and comedies. He gained significant acclaim for playing Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, released in 1972, which brought him an Oscar nomination. Other standout performances included Rollerball in 1975 and Misery in 1990, revealing his ability to shift between intense action and psychological tension. Known for a confident style and energetic presence, Caan contributed to Hollywood's golden age of gritty storytelling. His career continued well into later decades, and he passed away in 2022. Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis starred in about 100 films across a broad range of genres. In 1958, he delivered a lauded performance in The Defiant Ones, securing his only Academy Award nomination. Earlier appearances, including Houdini in 1953 and Some Like It, Hot in 1959, displayed a natural charm and impeccable comedic timing. Throughout his long career, he explored drama, comedy, and adventure, working alongside some of the biggest names in classic cinema. Curtis remained active on screen and in television until the later years of his life, ending with his death in 2010. James Garner. James Garner appeared in around 50 roles for film and many more on television. An Oscar nomination arrived with Murphy's Romance in 1985, highlighting his amiable screen presence. Earlier in his career, he made a name with TV series such as Maverick in the late 1950s and The Rockford Files in the 1970s, each featuring his relaxed comedic style. Garner also received the SAG Lifetime Achievement Award, confirming the respect he garnered among peers. His steady participation in entertainment lasted until he died in 2014. Dean Stockwell. Dean Stockwell's career, beginning in the 1940s, spanned about 100 film and television appearances. He started as a child actor, then continued into adulthood with roles in works like Paris, Texas in 1984 and Blue Velvet in 1986. An Oscar nomination came his way for Married to the Mob in 1988, and he also earned a Golden Globe. Stockwell explored science fiction on television with Quantum Leap, demonstrating an ability to adapt across eras and genres. His active involvement in Hollywood lasted until his passing in 2021. Omar Sharif. Omar Sharif, who participated in over 60 films, became an international star with roles in Lawrence of Arabia in 1962, earning him his sole Oscar nomination, and Dr. Zhivago in 1965. Known for a suave demeanor and worldly charm, he also won 2 Golden Globes, demonstrating his global appeal. Besides his acting career, Sharif was recognized for his skills in bridge, authoring several books on the subject. He remained part of major cinematic productions into the 2000s before his death in 2015. Richard Widmark. Richard Widmark featured in around 70 films, starting in the late 1940s with a chilling debut in Kiss of Death, which brought him an Oscar nomination. Often cast in tough or morally complex roles, he appeared in classic film noir and westerns. Among his memorable credits were Night in the City in 1950 and Warlock in 1959. Widmark's brand of subdued menace and measured intensity distinguished him from many of his contemporaries. He continued working into the 1970s and 1980s, ending a steady run upon his death in 2008. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins acted in about 40 films, including a critically acclaimed turn in Friendly Persuasion in 1956, which garnered him an Oscar nomination. His role as Norman Bates in Psycho in 1960 stands among cinema's most iconic portrayals of psychological complexity. Perkins appeared in stage and television projects as well, often embracing challenging characters. Known for a lean physique and intense gaze, he brought a distinctive edge to the screen. His work persisted into the early 1990s, concluding with his death in 1992. Ian Holm. Ian Holm collected around 40 screen credits alongside notable theater work. His Oscar nomination came from Chariots of Fire in 1981, and he earned several BAFTA wins for varied performances. In film, he stood out with roles like Ash in Alien in 1979 and Bilbo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings, revealing remarkable versatility. Holm contributed to British television and stage productions, showcasing a refined approach to both classical and modern material. He remained active until close to his passing in 2020. Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel took part in more than 100 film projects, recognized for collaborating with prominent directors such as Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. He secured an Oscar nomination for Bugsy in 1991 and earned multiple Independent Spirit Awards for his roles in gritty urban dramas. Known for an intense, authentic presence, he brought complexity to characters in Mean Streets in 1973 and Reservoir Dogs in 1992. Keitel continued to appear in films long after those formative years, maintaining a steady presence in contemporary cinema. Bert Reynolds. Bert Reynolds participated in around 100 films, establishing himself as a charismatic leading man with a trademark mustache and confident demeanor. Born in February 1936, he garnered an Oscar nomination for his supporting role in Boogie Nights, released in 1997, and won 2 Golden Globe Awards during his career. Notable appearances include Deliverance in 1972, The Longest Yard in 1974, and Smokey and the Bandit in 1977. Often celebrated for his easygoing style, Reynolds ventured into television as well, featuring in popular series like Evening Shade. He continued to act until his death in September 2018. Elliot Gould. Elliot Gould, born in August 1938, has amassed around 100 screen roles, becoming a distinctive figure in both comedy and drama. He received an Oscar nomination for Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice in 1969, reflecting a talent for sharp-witted dialogue and relaxed charm. Gould also took part in Robert Altman classics such as MASH in 1970 and The Long Goodbye in 1973, showcasing a knack for offbeat characters. Over the years, he appeared in television and stage productions, remaining active well into later chapters of his career. Raymond Massey. Raymond Massey starred in around 60 film projects, lending his theatrical poise to a variety of roles. Born in August 1896, he received an Oscar nomination for portraying Abraham Lincoln in Abe Lincoln in Illinois in 1940. Massey's repertoire included historical dramas and war stories, often playing authoritative or dignified figures. A Canadian by birth, he successfully transitioned from stage acting to Hollywood features. He continued working in film and television until his death in July 1983. Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw contributed to about 45 films, displaying remarkable intensity and range. Born in August 1927, he earned an Oscar nomination for A Man for All Seasons in 1966. Shaw delivered notable performances in Jaws in 1975 and The Sting in 1973, each underscoring his capacity for charismatic and, at times, menacing characters. Beyond acting, he was also a novelist and playwright. Shaw's career ended with his passing in August 1978, yet he left behind memorable work in both British and American cinema. Orson Wells. Orson Wells created around 40 major productions as an actor, writer, and director. Born in May 1915, he won an Oscar for co-writing Citizen Kane in 1941, a film frequently cited as one of the greatest in history. He later received an honorary Oscar, acknowledging his broad influence on filmmaking. Wells also explored radio drama, famously adapting The War of the Worlds in 1938. His ventures covered multiple genres, from Shakespeare adaptations to film noir. He remained active until his death in October 1985. Patrick Stewart. Beloved by sci-fi fans worldwide, Sir Patrick Stewart will forever be linked with his iconic portrayals of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek and Professor Charles Xavier in the X-Men series. Born in July 1940, he has performed in about 40 film and television roles, supported by an extensive theater background. Stewart has been honored with a Golden Globe nomination and an Emmy nomination, as well as multiple Olivier Awards for his stage work. Beyond acting, he serves as an ambassador for Amnesty International and advocates for various charitable causes. Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen emerged in August 1940 and went on to carve a remarkable path in Hollywood. With around 65 film credits, he became a household name through unforgettable performances in works like Badlands in 1973 and Apocalypse Now in 1979. Beyond the big screen, he earned multiple Golden Globe and Emmy nominations for his television roles, most notably as President Josiah Bartlett. Despite this acclaim, Sheen never secured a nomination for the Academy Awards. Some speculate it's because many of his most revered roles, while iconic, arrived in eras dominated by other major contenders or were ensemble pieces where the spotlight was shared. Others suggest that his deep commitment to social activism off-screen occasionally overshadowed his on-screen accolades. Vincent Price. Vincent Price, who first graced the world in May 1911, is celebrated as the master of horror for his chilling roles and unmistakable voice. Over a career spanning about 100 films, he became synonymous with gothic suspense in classics like House of Wax in 1953 and The Fly in 1958. His theatrical flair and refined persona made him a beloved figure among fans of macabre cinema. Yet despite his significant cultural impact, Price was never nominated for an Academy Award. Horror films often struggled for Oscar recognition in that era, overshadowing brilliant performances that thrived outside traditional drama. Price's legacy, however, transcends trophies. Until his passing in 1993, he remained a charismatic raconteur, art collector, and humanitarian, proving that an actor can achieve legendary status through sheer talent and a deep connection with audiences around the world. James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones commands one of the most iconic voices in entertainment, forever immortalized as Darth Vader and Mufasa. He arrived in January 1931 and soon began shaping a versatile career that spanned stage, film, and television. Though audiences often associate him with his resonant vocal performances, his on-camera roles have been equally compelling, earning him critical praise and various accolades, including 2 Emmys and 2 Tony Awards. In 2011, he received an honorary Oscar, acknowledging his vast contributions to the art of cinema. Despite that recognition, he never won a competitive Oscar, partly because his prominent roles frequently showcased his voice rather than his physical presence. Nonetheless, Jones's enduring influence reaches far beyond any single award. Eli Wallock. Eli Wallock was active in film for over 6 decades, starting with his debut in the early 1950s. He appeared in more than 90 productions, including notable roles in The Magnificent Seven in 1960 and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in 1966. Despite his long list of credits and respected status among directors and peers, he was never nominated for an Academy Award. However, he did receive an honorary Oscar that was officially recognized in 2010, celebrating his extensive contributions to cinema. Wallock was born in December 1915 and passed away in June 2014. He also earned recognition from the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, further underscoring his versatility and influence across various film industries. Gan Kelly. Gan Kelly is widely recognized for merging athletic dance techniques with a vibrant style that redefined movie musicals. He took part in around 40 productions, with standout titles such as Singin' in the Rain in 1952. Alongside his on-screen charisma, he contributed significantly to choreography and directorial efforts, revolutionizing how dance was portrayed on film. Kelly was honored with an honorary Oscar in 1952 for his achievements, including his innovative approach that left a lasting mark on Hollywood musicals. He first entered the world in August 1912, and his life in entertainment continued until he passed away in February 1996. His work remains a prominent example of the golden era of musical cinema. Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire transformed the musical genre with his graceful dance routines and collaborative work with talented partners like Ginger Rogers. He participated in around 30 musicals and additional projects, shaping movie choreography with a polished and light-footed style. Astaire received an honorary Oscar in 1949, reflecting his groundbreaking impact on film dance sequences. His birth occurred in May 1899, and he remained active until his passing in June 1987. Known for his effortless elegance and smooth vocals, he broke new ground in how dance could be filmed, including the introduction of full-body shots and minimal editing during routines. Astaire's filmography showcases an extensive range of performances that continue to influence dancers and filmmakers alike. Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton appeared in close to 100 film projects spanning silent features and early talkies. He gained acclaim for his inventive physical comedy and stoic persona, earning him the nickname the Great Stone Face. Despite never receiving a competitive Oscar nomination, he was acknowledged with an honorary Academy Award in 1959. Keaton's major works included The General in 1926 and Sherlock Jr. in 1924, each noted for innovative stunts and comedy styles. He was born in October 1895 and passed away in February 1966. His films broke new ground in visual humor, camera techniques, and storytelling without relying heavily on dialogue. Many later filmmakers studied his pioneering methods, making him a reference point in discussions about the evolution of cinematic comedy. Dean Martin. Dean Martin appeared in around 50 films throughout a career that spanned music, comedy, and drama. Born in June 1917, he rose to fame through his comedic partnership with Jerry Lewis, and later as a member of the famed Rat Pack. Known for a laid-back charm, Martin ventured into westerns and other genres, including Rio Bravo in 1959. Despite earning a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and receiving several Golden Globe nominations, he was never nominated for an Academy Award. He passed away in December 1995. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was born in June 1909 and became synonymous with swashbuckling adventure, starring in around 60 films. His roles in Captain Blood in 1935 and The Adventures of Robin Hood in 1938 defined the romantic action hero archetype of that era. Regarded for his athletic swordplay and charismatic performances, Flynn was never nominated for an Academy Award. He died in October 1959, leaving behind a legacy of high-energy, classic Hollywood entertainment. Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee, born in May 1922, appeared in more than 250 film productions. Recognized for his towering height and chilling presence, he took on iconic roles such as Count Dracula and Saruman in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Awarded a BAFTA Fellowship, Lee also received several other special honors over a career that spanned 7 decades. He remained active in cinema until shortly before his death in June 2015.